Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Machakwadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, wherever you may be. To you I say Shalom and Shalom Shalom. Right, we're in Joshua chapter 16, right? Reading back into these territories again, as we going through these military campaigns under Joshua to conquer these lands. Okay, and we ended off with the last chapter 15, understanding that not every single heathen was driven out of our land. All right, now we're moving on to, it says, the land given to Ephraim and West Manasseh. Right, so Ephraim, all right, and Manasseh, I believe is Aparim and Manasseh in the Hebrew. And it says the land given to Ephraim and West Manasseh. Because remember, a couple chapters back, we went into Gad, Reuben, and Manasseh on the east of the Jordan. Now we're talking about another portion of land given to Manasseh on the west of the Jordan. All right, so let's get busy. Joshua 16:1. This chapter is not too long. The allotment for the descendants of Joseph extended from the Jordan River near Jericho. Excuse me. The allotment for the descendants of Joseph extended from the Jordan River near Jericho, east of the springs of Jericho, through the wilderness and into the hill country of Bethel. From Bethel, that is Luz, it ran over Adaroth in the territory of the Archites. Then it descended westward to the territory of the Japhletites, as far as lower Beth Horon, then to Gezer, and over to the Mediterranean Sea. This was the homeland allocated to the families of Joseph's sons, Manasseh, and Ephraim. All right. And real quick, I'll pull this back up because I do have it from the last lesson. All right. It's like, I know it's kind of blurry. So Ephraim. Now remember, as we spoke in one of the last chapters we covered, Reuben, Gad, and then East Manasseh. Now we're talking about West Manasseh and Ephraim. All right, the sons of Joseph, because remember Joseph had two boys. All right, Manasseh and Ephraim. All right, Ephraim got the better blessing, though Manasseh was the oldest. Okay, you can read about that in the end of the chapters of Genesis, somewhere around there, give or take. I'm not gonna try to tell you the exact chapter, but it's definitely at the end of Genesis, moving towards Exodus. All right, and there's another map. It's the last one that we had the last time. Um, just using that for a reference point also. So same thing, Ephraim, Manasseh. And notice the maps look different, so take it with a grain of salt. All right, you can get 3 or 4 different maps, all giving the general territory of our land, but looking sort of different. So it's just to give you a general idea, all right, of the lands itself. Okay, so don't get hung up on well, this one looks different and that one looks, it's all good. It's all good. So this was the homeland allocated to the families of Joseph's sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Okay, um, the land given to Ephraim. The following territory was given to the clans of the tribe of Ephraim. The boundary of their homeland began at Ataroth Adar in the east. From there, it ran to Upper Beth Horon, then on to the Mediterranean Sea, from which we know the Mediterranean is on the west. From Mikmethoth on the north, the boundary curved eastward past Ta'anath Shiloh to the east of Janoah. From Janoah, it turned southward to Adaroth and Naarah, touched Jericho, and ended at the Jordan River. Okay, so going back to, just the general land there. All right, so you can see it. All right, and it makes sense because of where Jericho is situated. Jericho is not exactly on the Jordan River; it was over the Jordan River past that. All right, so it says from Tapua. Oh man, I actually thought there was more to read. I told you it was short, didn't I? From Tapua, the boundary extended westward, following the Kana ravine to the Mediterranean Sea. This is the homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, so following the Kana ravine to the Mediterranean Sea. See if we can find the Kana ravine, baby. Come on, we need images. There you go. I don't think we're gonna get a map out of this. I thought it was Minecraft. I was like, that doesn't look real. Minecraft. Okay, so yeah, we're not gonna pretty much find that, but you get the general idea. From Tapua, the boundary extended westward. Then maybe we can find Tapua. Tapua, Ephraim. Okay, this is better because we want to. It's so blurry though. Okay, okay, there you go. Thank you. Big Matat, Beth Horon, Gezer. I don't exactly see every name, but you know these maps are not always exactly correct. Anyways, I know I mentioned that 1,000 times, but you know I keep saying it for a reason. But you know we do try to put it on the map if we can. So from Tapua, the boundary extended westward, following the Kana Ravine to the Mediterranean Sea. This is the homeland allocated to the clans of the tribe of Ephraim. In addition, some towns with their surrounding villages in the territory allocated to the half tribe of Manasseh were set aside for the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, they did not drive the Canaanites out of Gezer. However, so the people of Gezer live as slaves among the people of Ephraim to this day. Now, if you want more backdrop on all that there, just go back to the last chapter that we read at the end of that chapter, where we went into I'm sorry, not Joshua, but Judges chapter 2 and chapter 3. Because at a later time period, it came a testing of the Israelites to see if we would, fall away from the commandments of the Heavenly Father after the death of, sorry, not Caleb, but Joshua. All right. So, and what happened is exactly what it sounds like. The Israelites fell away from the Lord, all right, and those people that were still in that land was the cause of them, falling away, giving our daughters to their men and taking their daughters, to our sons and ourselves and so on and so forth. Then eventually, from there, as it usually happens, they start to worship those same false gods and idols and their groves and everything else, right? So these things that we're reading about are, about the mapping out of the lands of the Israelites. But as you see, what's being worked in there is an event that takes place later on when you continue on in the history. And but that's pretty much it. I actually didn't think we would get through the chapter that quick, but I did say it was short. There's only 10 verses. So I mean it's pretty much straightforward, just reading about the territories. We can't really map everything because it's not always, pinpoint accurate. We do our best as long as you understand, general territory. Because I mean, as of right now, in real time, none of this is, is valid anyways because heathens are all over our land and so on and so forth. So you get the point. But it just gives you a general idea as we read. So get a because some people are more visual. I'm an artist, so I'm very visual. Um, Sometimes hands on, like you can give a person instructions, but they can't really get it. Unless you do like you go to a job and you know, you can hear all about making the burgers or something like that, but you don't really get it until you actually do it. Okay, that's more so. I'm more so like a person like that. That's why I like when I learn something, you know, 9 times out of 10, to really get it in my system, I'll teach it. Now, I don't teach every single thing that I go over like my perfect time, but more than likely, if I go over it, I teach it. But that's just a way for me getting it in my system, and then at the same time, if it helps someone else, then bam, right, that's what it's for, right? So, but no need to force it because that's pretty much it for that chapter. Lord willing, you were edified. To next thing, Yashwala, I'm gonna say shalom.